Good evening. Thank you for joining us. The Olympic dream starts young for many athletes, and so do the sacrifices. And for some, that comes with a painful price. Tonight, an ABC News ESPN investigation into the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, the organization created to protect athletes that some say isn't doing enough. Here's ABC's David Scott.
Heidi Gilbert has always been a fighter.
Starting in the 8th grade, I would get off the school bus, grab a snack, grab my Taekwondo bag, get down to the Taekwondo school, and I would train until around 9 o'clock at night.
From a young age, she dreamed of competing on the world stage.
All I wanted to do was win the Olympics.
Her hard work began to pay off when, at 16, Heidi started training with the national team under the watchful eye of Coach Jean Lopez.
Jean Lopez, United States Olympic coach for the sport of Taekwondo.
But behind all the medals and media attention,
Stretch out.
Jean Lopez allegedly hid a dark secret. One that Heidi and the Watchdog organization created to protect young athletes like her are still grappling with more than a decade later. At 20, Heidi won a gold medal at the 2002 Pan American Games in Ecuador, a giant step towards making her Olympic dreams a reality. But then, Heidi says she found herself alone with Lopez in his hotel room after the competition.
He threw me on the bed and then kind of jumped on top of me. And then he came behind me and dry humped me and ejaculated in his pants.
Shocked and struggling to comprehend what she says happened, she initially kept the alleged assault a secret.
Since the age of, 11 years old, I'd had this dream of going to the Olympics, and that's what I had been working so hard for. I wasn't willing to jeopardize my chances of winning an Olympic gold medal.
But it turned out Heidi was not alone. Over the course of the next decade, Heidi and multiple other women came forward to report similar claims of sexual misconduct against Jean Lopez. Lopez has denied the allegations. The governing body of the sport, USA Taekwondo, promised to investigate. But the 2016 Summer Olympics were fast approaching, and USA Taekwondo permitted Jean Lopez to coach the U.S. team despite being under investigation.
It's oh, okay, so money and medals are what's important to you, not what happened to the victims.
The sports world was just waking up to the depths of an epidemic it had long ignored.
Olympic scandal, the bombshell allegations against a former Team USA gymnastics doctor.
The sex abuse scandal in USA Gymnastics was sparking headlines around the world, and there was a growing consensus that sports federations could not be trusted to police themselves. Olympic leaders were forced to take action.
Everyone loves a champion.
They created the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, a new independent watchdog organization to investigate allegations of abuse and misconduct. Heidi's case would be one of its first big tests. Was that a relief to you that finally there would be some accountability?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really excited, and I thought, great, this is going to really change things and make a difference. I had been abused. All my dreams had been crushed.
All of this had already cost you your career?
Yeah.
According to confidential documents, in 2018, Safe Sports investigators concluded that Jean Lopez had engaged in, quote, a decades-long pattern of sexual misconduct by an older coach abusing his power to groom, manipulate, and sexually abuse younger female athletes. Safe Sport banned Lopez from coaching for life.
I felt like we were changing things, and we were kind of the trailblazers for sexual misconduct that was happening in our sport.
But that feeling was short-lived. Lopez appealed, and the case went into arbitration. Heidi declined to testify at the hearing at the advice of her attorneys, and despite the evidence she provided during Safe Sports' earlier investigation, the arbitrator said they could not assess her credibility and opted to overturn Lopez's ban. Is that hard to accept, hard to live with?
As a victim, you're just kind of floundering, right? You're out there in the ocean swimming, and you're like, where do I turn? Who do you trust? Who is going to hold anyone accountable?
Lopez maintained his innocence in an interview with a local Fox TV station following the ban's reversal.
It was a relief because the whole time we knew, and I knew, that I'm innocent of any of the allegations, the false accusations that have been made against myself.
Safe Sports says such reversals are rare outliers among the hundreds of sanctions they have imposed. An ABC ESPN investigation found that nearly half of those who have appealed their sanctions see them reduced or removed. The reasons for the reversals vary, but according to Howard Jacobs, an attorney who has represented dozens of accused coaches and athletes in Safe Sport proceedings, including Jean Lopez, chief among them is Safe Sport's own rules.
If you have these old cases, then they have to prove essentially that there's a violation of the criminal law that was applicable at the time, and that's where you can get into some kind of strange rules that have to be applied today, looking at standards from a long time ago.
I'm trying to be respectful here. I don't like Safe Sport.
Cases like Heidi's have made Safe Sport critics out of some of the world's most prominent athlete advocates, like former Olympic gold medalist Ali Raisman.
If you're Safe Sport and you are funded by the organization you're investigating, they're likely not going to do the right thing. It's just a complete mess, and the priority doesn't seem to be safety and well-being of athletes. It seems to be protecting USA Gymnastics and doing everything to keep the PR.
John Manley, who represented hundreds of Larry Nassar's victims, is a vocal critic of Safe Sport and questions its independence from the sport's power structure.
I believe Safe Sport is there for one reason, which is to protect the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee and its governing bodies like USA Gymnastics.
He recommends that his clients decline to participate in Safe Sport proceedings and pursue justice elsewhere.
It's an organization that's solely designed to give them public relations and political cover, and frankly does an excellent job of keeping the facts secret.
Safe Sport spokesman Dan Hill strongly objected to Manley's characterization and suggested that attorneys with a financial incentive to pursue cases in the civil courts have been, quote, recklessly undermining the mission of the center. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Jerry Moran spearheaded legislation signed by President Trump in 2020 designed to strengthen Safe Sport.
No athlete, whether an amateur athlete or an Olympian, should have to endure abuse and mistreatment to pursue the sport they love.
When we spoke to them, they expressed serious concerns about its effectiveness.
There is simply no way that Safe Sports can be given a passing grade for how it has acted in the past.
Every athlete we visited with, every victim, had little or no faith in Safe Sport.
They believe more transparency is needed to protect young athletes.
The U.S. Center for Safe Sports cannot do its job, simply cannot do its job unless it makes its work public.
Safe Sport keeps a public database of currently sanctioned individuals, but there's no public record of investigative findings or arbitration decisions.
These young athletes deserve better protections. It should be a new Safe Sports, not the old Safe Sports.
Safe Sports CEO Jerice Colon initially agreed to an on-camera interview with ABC News and ESPN, but ultimately declined to speak with us. Safe Sports spokesman responded to a series of questions via email and phone calls, defending the organization's track record, touting hundreds of sanctions imposed to date, and saying the center is, quote, motivated to earn the trust of athletes and their advocates. It is a first-of-its-kind organization in the world, and it's 4 years in and taking on a massive challenge. There are growing pains, but the fact of the matter is it's an incredible success story.
Safe Sports doesn't have my confidence and trust right now, but it can if it shows results. I think the jury's still out.
16-year-old taekwondo competitor comes to you and says, something happened. Can I trust Safe Sport with my story? what do you tell her?
I would recommend getting a lawyer and filing a police report. 1998.
Heidi did hire a lawyer and sued Lopez and USA Taekwondo, along with several other women, in 2018.
Bow, say hello, ma'am. Awesome. All right, guys.
She now coaches here in Seattle, and she's no longer affiliated with the federation. Recently, she got some big news. USA Taekwondo settled their lawsuit with no admission of wrongdoing for millions of dollars.
Now comes the healing, right? Where us as victims, we can actually get the help that we need to be able to heal from what happened to us.
Feel vindicated?
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Lopez is free to continue coaching and remains active in the sport in Southern California.
Our thanks to David.